Okay, so we're now recording. All right, so this is the webinar for Undeclared Engineering. So as I mentioned, we're going to really kind of focus on the questions, but we're going to go through all the resources that are there for you to kind of figure out what your schedule should look like for the fall semester as an undeclared student. There's, the blanket option if you're a student who has no idea what you want to do, you just want to get here and kind of feel it out. And then there's, of course, resources available that you can use if you're starting to get an idea of an area that you want to go into. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to open up, I'm going to share my screen, and then I'm going to open up the registration guide, which you all should have looked at a little bit by now. All right, I'm going to share my screen. Okay, Karen, can you see my screen? Just wanted to double check that you guys could see what I could see. Yeah. Awesome. All right, so this should be familiar to you. I'm going to go through it quickly just to point out those areas that are definitely places to spend a lot of your time. So just to remind you, the SOE Hub is your first year advising hub. So that's where we're sitting right now, actually. We're in the hub. And I'm your advisor for the first year, or really, as an undeclared student, I'm your advisor until you declare. And then you kind of will, if you're in your first year, move over to another SOE Hub advisor, or if you're in your sophomore year, because you're going to declare right in that first semester of your sophomore year, you'll move over to a faculty advisor. We have everything going, all the resources available to get you ready for that transition over to faculty, so don't even worry about it. All right, curriculum planning. So course suggestions for undeclared engineers. So like I mentioned, there's a lot of options that you guys have, which can be overwhelming. So there's a couple ways that you can kind of approach this. So first of all, you want to make sure that you really understand prereqs and co-reqs. This is how you kind of build the structure of your curriculum. And also, as an undeclared, you also want to keep in mind what you're going to do with your AP, IB, or transfer credits. There's a bigger section further down, which I'm sure you know. Dig into that if you're coming in with these transfer credits, just because it might rush you to having to make a choice a little bit faster, but there's also ways that we can kind of play with it if you do need that time. So like I said, a lot of this is very individual. So don't hesitate to reach out to me. So this is the engineering guide. So this is kind of the basic structure to use when you're thinking about your fall semester. So if you scroll down, this video goes very in-depth into it, so I'm not going to repeat myself, but you can watch this as many times as you need. And again, if you go away and watch this and have more questions, email me. But what I really want to point out today is these free electives. Every engineering major has free electives. You have 12 credits worth, so that's a really good place for you to kind of start inserting courses in areas that you think you're interested in pursuing. And if you look at this, in your fall semester, we really want you to be in this course here, the Engineering 1700. There is one section of it. It is on Monday evenings, and we're actually planning a program to follow this course where you'll be able to engage with alumni and employers who are in the industry of the major that you might be interested in. All right, so moving down from there, let's look at this kind of curriculum. And again, we're talking about Engineering 1700. We're talking about a 1-credit engineering course. So there's a lot of other engineering courses that you can choose from, the 1 credits, that will give you an introduction to any major. A math course, so wherever you're coming in with your APs, whether you're going to be in Calculus 1, whether you're going to do Calculus 2, there is a multivariable, which is Calculus 3, but that's not required for all majors, so we tend to just say go for Math 2400, which is differential equations. We do suggest, if you have no idea what you're interested in doing, to go for 2 science courses. It is possible to do that, and it helps you actually get a lot of those prerequisites out of the way. So if you have a stronger idea in the spring semester, you could very well start some of those classes. I think I'm hearing someone's mic, not to totally change the topic of conversation. So quickly, double check, make sure all mics are muted as we continue, just because I'm recording and we don't want that feedback. Okay, All right, back to the guide. Again, totally chanting for this class to be on your schedule in the fall. But what I also want to point out in this section is this is your basic, right? This is a basic structure. You can absolutely go for this and not think any harder about it. But if you have an idea of what majors you're interested in pursuing, there's a lot of other resources for you. So they are explained in the guide, but there are other ways that you can get to them. So if you come to the Advising Hub website, you can kind of come through here. And first of all, you'll see all the other advisors. So these are the women that I do work with. So once you get on campus, you're more than welcome to reach out with anyone. For example, if you're interested in environmental engineering, you could speak to Karen, who's actually on the chat right now. If you come to that Class of 2023 Student Registration Guide, which is the link that we gave you, you can come here and you'll see all the other guides. Just because you have not declared these majors does not mean you can't look at them. So if you are someone who's thinking about aero, if you're thinking about civil or an environmental, absolutely please feel comfortable to click on them and see what classes those students are taking in their first semester. A lot of times you might hear the nuances, like you absolutely need to take this class in your first semester, which is good information for you to know if that's something you're interested in pursuing, right? For example, with civil engineering, they really need to take IEA in that first semester, and also really need to take chemistry in that first semester. If you start looking at this and find that you're getting overwhelmed with all of those nuances, again, I'm here, you're not doing this by yourself. We can talk about and prioritize kind of what your semester should look like. Okay. The other thing you can do, and of course we're into our second week right now, so there's a couple webinars left. You are more than welcome to jump onto any of the other webinars to meet the advisor of that major, but also to kind of get the information about the majors that you're in. It's going to be very similar to this, although they will go more into curriculum than I can. But just so you know, there's a lot of resources to help you figure out, what path you want to jump onto. And I'm going to go back to it because I know that this can be overwhelming. If you just have no idea, right here is your schedule. Get on YACS and build this. Actually, why don't we do that right now? Let's get on YACS and let's build this. All right, so YACS is the tool that is in the engineering guide. So if we come down, this is the AP transfer credit section. So again, if you are coming in with transfer credits, be sure you watch that video and read through the section. This is your humanities core. So this is your kind of your general education here at Rensselaer. I will talk about this more when we get into YACS and build our schedule. And then this is the how to register section. So for those of you who are just like, I don't even know how I'm going to sit down and put my schedule together, this is the section you really want to pay attention to. There are 4 basic steps. So it's set up your student information system. It is create a mock schedule in YACS, which we're going to do together right now. It's clearing your financial agreement hold, and it's registering for courses with SIS. I totally understand that all of that probably means absolutely nothing to you at this point. It probably sounds like I'm speaking another language with SIS and YACS and financial holds. That is what the section is for. It's kind of explaining all of this information. So read through it very carefully. So step 1 is build a mock schedule in YACS. So we're going to do that right now. So this is what YACS looks like. There's a couple ways to search in here. So I'm going to just move forward with, so I'm going to move forward with the building of, let's start with your math and science core. So with your math classes, so we can look right in the School of Science area. The math classes are right here. And if you look and hover over this Calculus 1, you're going to see all the available sections to you. So don't worry about the 0 seats. This is getting updated for your registration next week. So if you are interested in these sections, feel free to move forward. But right now, I'm just going to click on the Calculus 1, and we're going to hit Schedule. So you can kind of see that it's coming together, right? We can see that there are the 48 options because we have 48 sections. All right, so another way to search, and we talked about doing 2 science classes, is you can actually type them right here. So we got Chem 1100, so if we hover over this, we select all the sections again, we hit schedule, and we'll see it there. The cool thing about YACS is that you actually don't have to do this every time. So if I put in physics, yep, 1100, we can hover over this and select it. We could also go in and we know we want to do the engineering 1700 course. All of this is going to become really familiar to you, these course names and numbers, so don't feel like you should know this now. We're going to hit schedule, and if we scroll down, you'll see that even though I didn't come back, physics is here and Better World is here. So these are the 4 classes that I've put on here so far. If we go back to the guide, let's scroll back up really quickly so we can see. This orange are all those 1 credit engineering courses. So pay attention to this area here. So if a class is fall only or spring only, if you know, for example, you want to do Mat Sci or chemical engineering, you're going to want to put these courses on your schedule right now. So I'm going to put material 1200 on my schedule just so we can kind of see what that looks like. All right, so we got our 1 section of that. We're going to hit schedule. And now we have 622 schedule options. So throughout the guide, throughout engaging with any of the advisors, you'll have heard us say that you need to have a plan A, B, C, and D as you come up to the registration next week. This is how easy it is to kind of figure out what those multiple plans will be. You may not end up with your plan A or plan B, but you can certainly always come back here and figure out other options. You also might have some stipulations. For example, if you're an athlete, you have to be done with classes by 4 o'clock. You could come in here and take a look for all of those late classes. Let's see if I can find one as I'm talking about it. So right here we have a Wednesday from like 5 to 6 p.m., right? So we could throw these off our schedule. It's that easy to kind of create what you need to in here. All right, important information that you need to know. So if I look at this example here, so this is a section number, this is a CRN, this is the faculty who's teaching the course, this is the number of seats, and then again, this is the day and time. So a couple things to know about this are, on the day that you are registering, from this day forward, basically, this will not reflect accurately throughout the registration period. There's a lag time between YACS and SIS. SIS is the information, or where it pulls the information from. So if you remember in the guide, under the YACS video, I went a little too far, we have this screenshot. This is a really good way to kind of put SIS, which you'll be logging into your personal information over here on one side, and then putting YACS on the other side, just to make sure that if it says there's 6 seats in the class, SIS will tell you, yes, there are still 6 seats, or no, there's not 6 seats. What's your plan B? Other things, so the CRN, which is this number for the fall, that's going to be starting with an 8. So you can see it here. You can also see it here. This is the number you're going to bring over to SIS to finish your registration. So YACS is where you build the mock schedule. It does not officially enroll you in anything at all. All right, so let's go through and quickly build a schedule in SIS. So I'm going to open up this PowerPoint. What I see when I log into SIS is different than what you see. So we actually had one wonderful RPI student kind of share their account with us so we could build this PowerPoint. But basically you will get here, you're going to log in with your RIN, and you're going to log in with your birthday. The very first time you log into SIS, it'll have you change your password, so you can do that then. This is kind of your first screen. We're going to go to student menu, remembering we're building a schedule right now. We're going to click on register, add, or drop. We are going to make sure that we are looking at fall 2019. And then this is where you're going to insert the CRNs. So I'll say this a couple times, but you want to make sure you put in all the CRNs at the exact same time. So that's an example of one CRN going in. you'll click Submit Changes, and then this is what screen will come up when you submit those changes. Basically, if it shows up just like this calculus class has, then you're on the right track and you're doing what you want to be doing in terms of building a schedule. If any errors come up, so for example, if you thought there were seats in the class, but there actually aren't, this is where you're going to see kind of a quote-unquote error. It's just letting you know that you need to pick another class or another section. It might also tell you that something's reserved for a specific major, which sometimes can happen with the Haas courses. Oh, I skipped over Haas. We'll go back to that. But anything like that, you can always reach out to me because sometimes there's a way to get around that. Sometimes they just need to let the students in the major register for the courses first, and then there's room for anyone else who wants to join. So a lot of times when it comes to registration, don't think of it as a dead end, like there's nothing you can do about it. Always ask first. I'll let you know if it's a dead end, but if it's not, I'll let you know how we can kind of figure it out. After you build a schedule, you always want to double check that what you think is there is going to be there. So we will click View Schedule, Day and Time. And this is what you will see when you click that. So of course, this is the example of the student who shared with us, who started in the fall of 2017. But you can kind of see that it mirrors what you would have had on YACS, right? When you register next week, make sure that you put in like September 04, 2019 on this page, because otherwise it's going to show you today's schedule, which is the middle of the summer, so you're not going to have any classes. So you just want to put that date out a little bit further. Okay, a couple things to note, and I am sorry that this is cut off. Karen will help me type out the rest of the information so that you can see what it's saying. So again, you're going to put in all the CRNs at the same time. And then there are two classes that you really want to think about in that first semester that if you're taking them, you're going to have two CRNs at the same time. So with biology, which is not required for all engineering majors, but it might be part of some of the majors you're interested in, you're going to want to register for the biology class and the biology lab. And then for physics, you're going to have Physics 1100 and then a physics mentoring session, which is the Physics 1960. All the other like sciences have their labs built in, so you don't have to register for those extra sections. But these are the two that have a little extra work to them. All right, next, again, YACS is not live on the day of registration. There is that lag time, so please make sure that you're kind of double checking before you get to SIS that the classes that you think you're going to go into, because there are loads of seats available, actually have seats available. This is mostly to save you some stress if you get there and discover that all the classes you want are closed. It doesn't mean that you're not going to get into the class you want. You can reach out to me and we can kind of rebuild if you do find yourself in a bit of a pickle. Okay. So if anything happens during registration, you can absolutely reach out to the registrar's office. This is their email, registrar@rpi.edu. We'll make sure that you have this contact information, and sometimes you'll email me with a question, and actually the registrar can help you better than I can, and I'll make sure you get their contact information then too. Okay, so we're going to close this PowerPoint. We're going to go back to the guide before Q&A. So I want to talk about Haas. So this is the Haas section right up here, School of Humanities, Arts, and Social Sciences. So you will have to take 20 credits worth of Haas. If you are coming in with Haas credit, you can only apply 8 credits, so that's 2 classes to the Haas core. And even if you are coming in with Haas credit, you still want to have one of these courses on your schedule for the fall semester. The reason being is these Haas classes really give you a chance to get up to the 16, 17 credit mark without it being another really heavy math, science, engineering course. So it's kind of a brain break, and it lets you kind of really deal with your transition from high school to college, because there's going to be a lot going on when you get here. The area that I really think you need to look at is this here, which is the IHSS courses. So Haas, within Haas, you are going to have something called a pathway, and Karen's going to share a link for you to those pathways if she hasn't already. I'm not sure where she is in her chat. Pick one of those pathways and then use that pathway to kind of decide what IHSS course you're interested in pursuing for the fall semester. I do also want to point out, because I'm seeing these, this is one of the reasons why YACS is awesome. It tells you if a section is conflicting with the schedule that you've already built. So if you want to prioritize your math and science courses and then come in here and see like, all right, well, there's 2 sections of minds and machines. So, you know, I'm just going to grab that because it fits into my schedule. Absolutely, you can kind of build a schedule that way. So I've just selected minds and machines. If we go to schedule, we'll see the work we've done before, and then we're going to see that IHSS 1140. So we've added that to our schedule. And we still have 420 different variations to go through and look at. Okay, so that's HOS. Another thing that you want to keep in mind is taking a communication intensive HOS in your first year. The guide has a whole section about HOS, and again, it might sound like I'm speaking a foreign language, which is why we have this. So go through this as you're kind of picking each area. Break it down, take it slow, whatever works best for you. But I don't think that there's anything else I really want to talk about today. Make sure you're looking through the guide and watching the videos. There's a lot of useful resources right here at the end. For example, we do have a lot of acronyms on campus. This link here will help you through them. And for the record, I learn new acronyms every day on this campus. Learn more about the SOE First Year Advising Hub. You know, go to our website, click around and see who we are to you. We've got an FAQ and forums page, and of course, we're on social media. So if you want to start engaging with us this way, we're actually posting like deadlines and things to think about as you come up to registration. You'll see like class of 2023. And yes, you can reach out to me at any point through this process. I'm actually looking forward to your emails because this is a quieter time of year. So don't hesitate to email me before, during, and after registration. And this is my number. You can give me a call at any point too. If you make an appointment with me through the portal, then you know that I'm going to be sitting at my desk waiting for you, which is kind of nice. Otherwise, you know, sometimes I get pulled away. But yeah, that's pretty much it. So let's open it up for questions. I'm going to go back to the meeting and stop sharing my screen. All right, what questions do we have? Just scrolling through to make sure I have everything on here. Okay, I'll give you a couple minutes so that you have enough time to type. All right. How do I fit, or how do credits for classes like PLTW fit into course requirements? Can they count for prerequisites? That is a great question because I'm not actually sure what a PLTW is. Can you spell that acronym out for me? Project lead the way. Oh, okay. So stuff with like RIT. So they typically don't come in as prerequisites. What they might come in as a free elective. So that area where, I mean, a free elective kind of says it for you, right? Like you can do whatever you want to do with that credit. It's great because it gets you closer to your degree completion. So they do help you out, but they don't typically work towards prerequisites. If you email me the exact course that you're thinking of bringing in, I can give you much more information on that. So why don't you give me an email with a little bit more details and we can talk about it more. Does that sound good, Max? Awesome. How do I fit ROTC course or classes and requirements into my schedule? That is a very good question. ROTC mixed into your engineering courses is of course going to be a lot more work. You're going to probably be taking around 20 credits a semester. They do this really wonderful thing where they actually, so we do it with everyone, but ROTC is going to have you build a 4-year plan very, very early on. So you're going to see exactly how that works. If you haven't received any information from them yet, why don't you email me, and I'll see what I can pull up from past years so that you can see what it looks like. But you should be able to find courses in YACS too, and we can kind of build that schedule for you. You're right, it's going to be a tight one, but students do it every year. They just go through it, they get in the rigor and the role, and they go. All right, good question, Gregory. Any other questions? Okay. Going to give it a couple more minutes just in case. When I create my schedule, should I factor in AP credits myself, or do those need to be approved by somebody? That is a very good question. So we are 100% aware that a lot of AP grades are not coming out until after you register. Because we're aware, that means there's a lot of flexibility. So don't let it be a stressor to you as you come into the schedule. What we say is genuinely kind of do a self-assessment and think, A, do I think I'm going to get the credit of these AP courses? Do I already know that I'm going to? And with the ones I've just taken, do I think I'm going to be able to bring them in? And B, do you want to start with Calculus 1 or do you want to start with Calculus 2? You know, kind of ask yourself those questions. You can ask me those questions too if you want to. But basically the approval is you're going to send all of those scores through the College Board to RPI, to Rensselaer, and then they just get added to your account if you've hit the grade that you need to get them put or part of your transcript and your degree progress. But in terms of scheduling, factor them in. By all means, factor in what you think you got. All right, good question. All right, when I create my schedule, I just read that one, sorry. All right, are we registering for fall and spring classes during this period? No, you're only going to be thinking about the fall. You're going to sit down and register for the fall classes. Sometimes it's nice to think about the spring schedule, but we're really taking it one step at a time while you're off campus and you haven't had a chance to get here and take some classes and make some friends and meet with me in person. If you're kind of thinking through, because some students do sometimes think about a 4-year plan before they get there, by all means, you can reach out to me and I can kind of talk to you about what your spring schedule would look like. But I think for a lot of you in the undeclared, you're really going to be taking it one semester at a time as you're making decisions. And that Engineering 1700 class is really going to help you make those choices. Good question. Okay. You send your AP scores when applying. Do you need to send them again? No, I don't believe you do. What I would say is when you log into SIS, you can actually view your transcript. And on your transcript, it should say if those credits are there or not. Sometimes there's a little bit of a delay because we have our wonderful colleague Robert is kind of the man when it comes to processing all the transfer credits. But you shouldn't have to send them again. One of the really good reasons why we have you meet with me every semester is because when we sit down to look at the next semester, we can find the stuff like, oh, I thought I was going to have a Calculus 1 credit and it doesn't seem to be on my roster. That's awesome because then I can call Robert and see kind of where it is. So you should be fine. But again, in the fall, we'll catch it if you meet with me regularly. Good. I noticed while looking at YACS that for some courses, such as calculus, there can either be 4 classes a week or 5. Is there any difference between those classes? You've kind of pointed out the main difference, just that they space it out a little bit. I haven't really looked at the Calculus 1 for this upcoming fall semester, but I think the 5 classes a week might be shorter than the 4. So if that helps your learning style at all, it might, to break it down a little bit more. Or if you're like, nope, just want to get it done, you have the 2 options. And sometimes that shorter class fits nicer into a busier schedule, which could also be a reason why you might kind of pick one or the other. These are great questions, guys. Keep them coming. Are there any placement tests we have to take for the classes? No. This is a good question. It's come up. There is, and I don't know if Karen can quickly pull up the link for the calculus self-assessment. So there is, if you're not really sure where you're coming in like calculus very specifically, we do have an Rpi assessment that you can take that can give you an idea of what class you might want to take. But placement tests, not so much. The APs might bring you further into the curriculum, but if you're not bringing in any APs, you're going to start right with that calculus 1, chemistry 1, physics 1, and the engineering courses, IEA right off the gate. Great question. 1 second. Okay, I'm back. I think Karen found the link, so she's going to put that in. All right, awesome. Are there any other questions? If we are considering trying to walk on for sport, are there certain times we should schedule around? Yes. So athletes have to, basically you're going to be in class from 8 a.m. until 4 p.m. So that's the block that you're going to be in. Sometimes, and I'll just throw that out there, sometimes coaches try to encroach on that 4 p.m. a little bit. If you just let them know, like, I really have to take this class, academics come first. And I'm more than happy to chat with any coach. There's also, we recently discovered, like, on Monday evenings, it's an academic break. So they don't actually have practice Monday evenings. So the Engineering 1700 course is Mondays from 4 to 5 p.m. That's going to be perfectly fine for you guys to take because of that academic break. But typically through the rest of the week, you would want to make sure that your last class wraps up at like the 3:50 time frame. And you can start classes right at 8 a.m. Okay, great. Any other questions out there? You haven't received your time ticket yet. Should I wait for several days? Yes, so you can wait. I'm not sure where they are in the time frame of sending out the time tickets. The other thing that you can do, if you log on to SIS now, let me see. The student side is different than mine. I believe that if you click on register, add, or drop right now, if you log into your SIS account, it might also say when you're going to register. So have a look there. And also, it's kind of nice to set up your SIS before you get to that registration day anyway. So check there. And if you don't see a time and you still haven't really kind of tracked down your time ticket, so they should be going to your RPI email account, email me. We will find it. With ROTC, can I make my schedule and then add the ROTC requirements, or would I do it all when I have to make my 4-year plan? That is a good question. Gregory, I'm going to have you email me, and because we're doing things a little bit differently this summer, and I'm not exactly sure where ROTC is in terms of getting you ready for registration. So if you email me, let's figure all this out for you so that you know exactly what's going to happen on Monday. And maybe I can even connect you to somebody who can help you figure out exactly what you're going to do. I would say, though, don't be shy with playing around with YACS at all, because first of all, it's kind of fun to see how all these courses fit together. But yeah, it'll be good. All right. Any other questions? Where do you get your registration time ticket? Yes. So the time tickets are sent to your RPI email account. So that's your new RPI email account. And like I said, if you don't see it in your RPI email, check in SIS. Click on, I believe, the register, add, or drop tool or part of your student menu. If anyone thinks that they are missing a time ticket, please email me, and we'll get in touch with registrar. So all of the time tickets come out of registrar, so this is one of those areas where you could even email them, but let me help you out with this. Sorry, I just choked. The first time around. Okay, that is great information. Hold on. I don't know why that's going off. That's really good information. So, all right, Feng Cheng, Samuel, email me. Let's figure this out. What I'll do, okay, Leonardo, email me. If anyone's seeing this, email me. And what we'll do is I will copy your email over to the registrar's office, and I will ask them on your behalf why you don't have a registration time ticket, and what we're going to do to kind of fix that for you. Karen just let me know that apparently the registrar is delayed with their time tickets, so nobody has them. Does that sound accurate for everyone in the room? Nobody's gotten their time tickets? Okay. Well, all right. Give it another day, but this is one of those things. I'm here to be an advocate for you, so you can always reach out to me, and I will do whatever I can to find the answers for you. I'm so happy to be that person. So they are delayed. Thank you, Karen. But we'll figure it out. You will know when you're registering before we get to that point. Okay, Amy, is the work study mostly during the day? How can I fit that into my schedule? That is a good question. So wherever you are going to be a work study, the benefits of a work study is that you're on a college campus working with college staff. So we are so aware that you have a schedule. So we just let you build it in around your classes. So pretty much once you know what your schedule is, a lot of times your supervisor will, sorry, I lost my train of thought for a second. Your supervisor will let you pick your schedule then. So it's not going to be like a 9 to 5 kind of thing. It might be like an hour and a half here or an hour and a half there, which is just how it works. Good question, Amy. Okay. Okay. Any other questions? Okay, so I think it looks like we might have caught up on all our questions. So before I go, mostly I want to say jump onto Yaks and just have fun. Again, if you have an idea of the majors you want to pursue, don't be shy in looking at their materials. If you have no idea what you want to do, stick with that basic outline. I'm here. You can email me, continue asking me your questions. Like I said, with you, there might be a lot of really kind of one-on-one answers to the questions you might have. And we have more than enough time to work that stuff out before we get to Monday. If you think that there's something that you need before Monday, for example, if the time tickets don't come out as quick as we think they're going to, again, don't hesitate to reach out to me. But just have fun with this and know that no matter what you register for, when registration opens up, there are multiple times that we can change it. So first of all, when you get here for student orientation, we can adjust it then. You'll be able to meet with me in person. And then when you get here in the fall semester, there's 2 weeks where we can actually add sections or switch you into different sections. Or the drop deadline is like a whole month into the semester. So if you are taking a class and you discover, wait, this is totally not my major, we can even get that class right off your schedule. So that is why I say have fun. Have fun with this. Have fun figuring out what you want to do, and reach out to me when you have questions. All right. I am going to stop recording, and I'm going to end the webinar. It was great meeting all of you.